Our top story tonight, the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran is facing its biggest test yet. Both sides exchanged direct fire today, sparking new concerns that the region could be pulled back toward a broader conflict. As WSAV's Raquel Martin reports, President Trump is now publicly pressuring both governments to hold their fire.
The missiles may have stopped, but the ceasefire remains fragile. Israel, Iran, and Iranian-backed Houthis out of Yemen all exchanging fire. President Trump urging all sides to halt as he pushes for a peace deal. Sirens went off across Tel Aviv Monday as Israel and Iran exchanged a wave of attacks, breaking a delicate ceasefire that went into effect 2 months ago. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised to hold off further attacks for now. The concession came only after President Trump pressured Netanyahu on the phone Monday. He also took to social media, demanding both sides immediately stop shooting, adding, quote, final negotiations on peace are proceeding, subject to ignorance or stupidity getting in its way. Iran's military also agreed to halt strikes, but warns they will retaliate if Israel continues military operations in southern Lebanon. For now, the White House says the ceasefire disruption should not interfere in peace talks. Just days before the breakdown, President Trump insisted a nuclear deal with Iran was still within reach.
One way or the other, it's finished. One way or the other is finished.
Democrats on Capitol Hill remain critical.
Donald Trump's reckless and costly war of choice has resulted in gas prices through the roof.
Impatience appears to be waning among some Republicans who last week joined House Democrats to pass a war powers resolution, an effort to effectively try and stop further military action in Iran.
It must stop.
Democrats in the Senate have tried several times to pass a war powers resolution, but have failed. Expect to see them push for that vote again this week. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
A deadly shooting in Midway appears to have stemmed from a love triangle, according to the Liberty County Sheriff's Office. Investigators say the incident happened around 5 Saturday night in the Angler's Edge area when 49-year-old Markel Washington arrived on a motorcycle to meet a woman he was planning to go out with. Deputies say as the woman was walking to meet Washington, 54-year-old Jabbar Watson saw Washington on the bike. Authorities say the two men exchanged words before Watson allegedly pulled a handgun and fired. Investigators say Washington then drew a weapon and returned fire, striking Watson multiple times. When deputies arrived, they found Watson on the ground and applied a tourniquet before he was taken to a hospital where he was later pronounced dead. Liberty County deputies say Watson was the estranged boyfriend of the woman involved, and there had been prior minor incidents between the men. Washington was detained at the scene, later released. Investigators say no charges are currently being pursued as the case remains under investigation. A Fort Stewart soldier is in custody after reports of shots fired on the installation today. Fort Stewart officials say it happened near Engineer Road around 2:09 this afternoon, and a soldier was taken into custody after officials say they surrendered. The post was placed on lockdown at 2:20 rather. It was lifted just 12 minutes later after authorities determined the threat had been eliminated. No one was hurt. The incident remains under investigation, and officials say more information will be released as it becomes available. 5 Savannah men have been sentenced to federal prison in separate cases involving illegal firearms possession. Each of the men was prohibited from possessing firearms due to prior felony convictions. Investigators recovered guns during a variety of incidents and investigations, including a domestic disturbance, a traffic stop, a road rage call, and a compliance check. One of the cases also involved nearly 500 grams of fentanyl discovered during a search warrant executed by Savannah police. The men received federal prison sentences ranging from just under 2 years to nearly 14 years. A local family is recovering after a devastating fire on Tybee Island while also holding out hope that a missing dog may be found alive. The blaze left significant damage to a duplex and triggered an outpouring of support from neighbors who have now turned their attention to searching. WSAV's Isley Herschel with the latest.
Yesterday afternoon, this duplex behind me was completely engulfed in flames. As you can see, the roof has been completely destroyed, making the home a loss.
When I opened up the door, there was flames flying about 30 feet high.
Smoke billowing over a house that was completely engulfed in flames. Bruce Simpson was home watching TV with his dogs when he first saw the blaze.
It was just, save the dogs, get the dogs out, and then, I ran out with them.
According to a Tybee Island firefighter I spoke with off camera,
The flames started in the backyard, and it took more than 5 hours to put out, with the fire rekindling multiple times.
It was more in the back, and it was just engulfed. It was very scary. It was devastating.
Simpson says he was trying to get his dogs out alive. One of them made it out with him.
But the other dog got away.
His dog, Walker, went missing shortly after the fire. Simpson says neighbors spotted him out on this 63,000-acre marsh. Now members of the Tybee Island community are getting together to help find Walker.
We're out here doing a rescue mission, hoping to find Walker and bring him back alive. That's the goal.
They're searching with drones and going out on boats to see if they can find him.
Walker's a fine dog. He's real lovey-dovey, but of course, he's very protective of his house.
For Simpson, this community involvement means everything.
They went over there yesterday, and they seen him out there, but they couldn't catch him. So I'm going to go out there and see if I can get him. But he might come to me with the voice, because he's a little skittish.
The cause of the fire is still unknown. No people were injured. One dog belonging to the other duplex resident, the city's engineer, did pass away.
On Tybee Island, Isley Herschel, WSAV News 3, on your side.
New developments tonight in the Alec Murdaugh saga. A judge has now been assigned to preside over the murder case as it moves toward a retrial. South Carolina Chief Justice John Kittredge has selected Circuit Court Judge Deborah McCaslin to oversee the proceedings. Judge McCaslin is a graduate of the College of Charleston and the University of South Carolina School of Law. She was elected by the General Assembly in 2020 to serve on the Circuit Court Seat 13. No trial date has been set at this time. However, both the prosecution and the defense say they do not plan to pursue a settlement in the case. Savannah fire crews responding this afternoon to a house fire on the west side. The Savannah Fire Department was called to the area of Ogeechee Road and West 34th Street, where crews say they arrived to find visible flames coming from this home. Fire officials say Ogeechee Road was shut down between 34th and Anderson Streets while crews worked to get the fire under control. At this time, no injuries have been reported, and the cause of the fire has not yet been released. School safety in the spotlight in Savannah this week as educators, law enforcement officials, and emergency managers from across Georgia gather to focus on how to better prepare for a crisis on campus. The conversation comes amid ongoing efforts to strengthen security in schools. WSAV's Nikaya Harris was there.
Inside the Savannah Convention Center, Georgia leaders are focused on one goal, making sure schools across the state are better prepared for emergencies.
Nearly 2 years ago, a shooting at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, claimed the lives of 4 people during school hours. As school safety remains a top priority across the state, Monday's conference brought together school districts, law enforcement agencies, and emergency management officials to discuss prevention, response, and recovery.
Georgia is very strong in school safety across the spectrum. However, we don't want schools to fall into a sense of complacency.
And for Deputy Director of Homeland Security, that means continuing efforts to improve school safety through initiatives, including up-to-date school mapping and mobile panic alerts. Ryken Posey was in first grade at Sandy Hook Elementary School when a gunman killed more than 20 students and staff members. Now, Posey shares his experience with the school officials and law enforcement agencies across the country, hoping to provide practical insight on how communities can better prepare for emergencies.
There's so much work to be done in this area. It's a never-ending battle in order to make schools safe, and at the end of the day, you're never going to be able to fully prevent anything that happens in life, but it's how can we be ready for it if it does happen.
Assistant Director of Safe and Healthy Schools Mark Muma says Georgia has made progress in school safety thanks to state investments, but says challenges remain.
I think our next biggest challenge is probably looking at long-term recovery of how schools are really adjusting to situations that are occurring on their campuses and thinking through the mental health challenges.
It's why you do it and why you're passionate about it that really matters, and so we can prevent tragedies like the ones that we went through as a family.
And the conference continues through tomorrow here at the Savannah Convention Center. Reporting here in Savannah, Nikaya Harris, WSAV News 3, on your side.
A new parking option for Tybee Island. The city says a new daily parking pass is available. Typically, you pay by the hour. Each pass costs $25 per day and can be purchased for up to 7 consecutive days, totaling $175. The passes can also be purchased up to 30 days in advance. The day passes are not being offered on the Park Tybee app. Instead, they are being sold on the city website.